Perfect. Thank you for joining this morning. We're actually going to go ahead and get started. We're a couple minutes behind it. It looks like the Zoom link, thank goodness, is being pretty consistent for us. So thank you for joining this. Quick shout out to the Staff Employee Association and for putting on the Staff Elevated Conference. A lot of work goes into that, and we're very grateful for the time and the effort and everything that goes into a conference. We as event professionals can absolutely appreciate sometimes some of the stress that goes into technical difficulties, as we like to call them, opportunities and adventures. So thank you very much for that. I'm going to close out this slide deck and open up our presentation, if you bear with me for just a moment. All right, can anybody confirm that they can see that? If it's coming through. Is that coming through okay?
Yes.
We're not seeing it internally here. There we go. Okay, perfect. Who in the world is the Office of Events? What do we do and why? And why does it matter? Thank you for joining us today. We're going to go through a couple of those things. Hopefully by the end of today, there are some questions answered that you may never know you had, but now we're going to give you the questions. We're going to plant that seed and hopefully at least spark some curiosity. And then by the goal of it, by the end of it, our goal is that you'll know how to reach us if there is anything that we talk about today that is of your benefit. We are the Office of Events. We have about 35 full-timers in the Office of Events, officed in about 6 different buildings, mostly event venue-based buildings, the TSC, the Echoes Conference Center, the West Stadium Center, and several others. We have about 157 part-timers as well. And as everybody in this room knows, part-timers come and go. We love working with our students, so that number fluctuates daily. The Office of Events operates based on essentially the 5 C's. I'm going to see if I can move that off the presentation so everybody can see that a little better, just in case that's affecting everybody like it is here. So first, we oversee the campus reservation resource management. We find ourselves uniquely positioned to love everybody equally and care about everybody's events. We want everybody's events to succeed. We know that that's not maybe the case for everybody's event to everybody else's event. But as we see every event that is within our systems that Audrey will talk about come and go, we have found some ways to make events better and to find a way to make more events possible. Sometimes a 6-hour room flip really wasn't a 6-hour room flip. Sometimes it was a 30-minute room flip, and we are able to host more events on campus, which of course brings opportunity to bring more events to campus. As we found sometimes the nuances of working through the event checklist, of which every event has a checklist, whether it's physical or mental, verbal or written. Every event has a checklist, and we do the boxes and we do it right. That is our commitment. That's actually number 5. Number 2, consolidation of event-related services. The way that we do it, we have a lot of experience, and we work with every partner on campus. We have 23 different departments on campus to which we work that provide services, everything from custodial and the FM and facilities to emergency management, to public safety, to risk management, to you name it, parking, dining, housing, Aggie Print and Mail, the campus bookstore. There are very few things event related that we cannot do. And if we can't do them, it's probably because we shouldn't be doing those things at Utah State. And that's another one of our benefits, is what should and should not possibly occur at Utah State. And if it should occur and it's difficult, that's why we're here. Cross-department collaboration, we talked a little bit about. We get to work with all 8, soon to be 9 colleges on campus, all statewide campuses. And while we may not travel to all statewide campuses to help with their event, we do have the tools that we have available for all statewide campuses, our contracting, our reservation systems, our invoicing practices. We have been able to do training with statewide campuses to a very good degree of success. And CVent is the engine that runs our conference management system. A couple of questions that we will ask today that maybe you've been thinking about, maybe you haven't. We've heard that Utah State Office of Events runs conferences, like for real, like the whole thing, like top to bottom, hotels, everything, financial management. The answer is yes, and Melisa will talk more about that. Another question some people have had is, we see a lot of youth coming through these halls and on the green spaces and on the quad throughout the summer. How many do you bring? And do they really apply to Utah State once they come here? Robbie will talk about that. We're very excited for that. Now, a couple of questions are, how many different calendars are used through your central reservation system? And how many independent users use that? Audrey will talk about that. And of course, how many events do you guys do every year? That's one of the most common questions we get. How many events do you do? Audrey and Mandy will actually answer a little bit of that one as well. Another few questions we have are, what can the Office of Events help us with? So that's what we're here for today. The quick answer is everything. If it is tied to an event, we know who to talk to. We may not do everything. We know who to talk to, and we are the one-stop shop for campus. And the goal of today is to know that number and to be able to know when you should use us, when you absolutely may not have to use us, and what the benefit and the value is. This is the team you'll hear from today. Very excited to hear from these fine people. You'll hear from Brandon Hansen, who's our Associate Director, Audrey Kirkman, Central Reservations Manager, Mandy, who is our on-campus event specialist, and Senior Event Coordinator, Robbie Gerber, who oversees our youth programs, and there's another Senior Coordinator, and Melisa Wood, who does our on and off campus all over the country, Senior Conference Coordinator for our conferences, large and small. A quick run through on a couple other things that, oh, now we've lost the clicker. Apologies for that. Maybe we'll go manual here. Here, I'm going to stop sharing and see if I can reactivate the PowerPoint. Okay, so it is working here. Give it just 1 second. We'll get that screen share back live. See if we can regain control of the PowerPoint. Audrey, if you did adjust it, mess it up, I'm very impressed that you have done that from over there. Here are the couple of here's the answer to one of the questions. Just in our central reservations management system, why central reservations? This is one a Utah system of higher education policy that we have a space utilization report, and this one central scheduling system is how we do it. Classrooms are scheduled in the same system that events are scheduled in, and we work very closely with Jessica Hansen in the academic scheduling office. So one of the quick answers is over 7,000 active users per semester. You'll notice that we have over 250 different schedulers, 23 major service providers on campus, and a number that sticks out that is quite, I don't know, call it alarming, almost 500,000 independent interactions with that system every year. Last year, it was close to 667,000. So is that number correct? Yes, that is every interaction. That doesn't mean a full event. That is interactions, room booking, and then engagement of the tables, and then the chairs, and then invoices and confirmations. So yeah, almost 500,000 different pieces of information that move through that central scheduling software that Audrey's team oversees, which for Utah State, yeah, that's a lot of movement, and that's why the Office of Events exists to help manage that traffic. The nuances of hosting an event successfully, of course, are very complicated at times. Some events are very simple, some events are very complicated, and that is our role, is to navigate those nuances in a manner that protects Utah State's reputation, its employees, its public safety, and of course, its venues and spaces. Quick note here, we also work internally with catering and the university, and does fall under the umbrella of the Office of Events. In the sake of time, since we did get a little bit of a late start, I'm going to move through these a little bit quicker. These are some of the campus partners with whom we engage. Some of them, a quick note, when it comes to an event, we'll only work through our office. So if you do go straight to them, many of these partners will say, please go through event services under the Office of Events, and they will help you engage our services. So just a quick note on that. There are a lot of people on campus that are very good at planning events. Sometimes these service partners will inevitably reroute you through our office to make sure that they get that consistency. Our campus partners, as we've gained that trust through risk management, through Office of General Counsel, through the Old Main administrative offices, while it's not a mandate to use our services, it is a very common request that they will say, start with events and event services in the Office of Events. We actually like the way they do it. So some of these will not work with anybody else, for what it's worth. And of course, that's not meant to be a power trip. That's meant to be consistent. And we're always happy to answer questions. We do not charge for answering questions. We charge the prices of the direct services of which you engage, depending on the box that you check for your events. And some of those services, of course, are in-house, some of which Brandon Hansen is going to talk about now.
All right, so we'll make this very quick. I think most people want to hear from our coordinators and from Audrey about reservations. And so some of the services that we do provide, as Reed said, are internal. In the Office of Events, we take very seriously our charge to bring people to campus, to give them a good experience where possible, excite them about being on Utah State's properties, and being an Aggie, and hopefully maybe attending school here or other things, donating, things like that. And so we do take our charge very seriously to provide the best events possible. And one of the ways that we do that is internally, we do have several crews that I get the opportunity to work with that try to make these events successful. One is our setup team, which does thousands of event setups across campus every year. They used to be just in the TSC and doing just the events in the TSC, and now they are across campus doing events in the stadium, in the Spectrum, anywhere that we need them to. So helping with things like that. We do work still very closely with our facilities, moving crews as well, to set up some of the major events and facilitate those things. But we try to do some of these other things definitely in-house. And so with that, they can customize any setups that you need, working with the coordinator or working with you to maximize the usage and the utilization of the space, and are able to make that the best possible. Our AV team that we have provides varying services from soundboard management to lighting, rigging, all kinds of different things to, again, facilitate your event. They will do this in any of our spaces or across campus as needed. One of the things that we do have too that is unique to Utah State, in fact, is unique to the Intermountain West, is our Aggietron, which is a 28-foot mobile LED board that pops up out of a trailer. It can be driven anywhere, popped up in just a few minutes time, and you can have a movie playing anywhere you'd like on the quad, in varying campuses, things like that. And so really a unique thing that we have and that we can offer for our students, for our guests, or for whatever the need may be. We also have our equipment management team, which delivers equipment across campus. This can be indoors, outdoors. They assist with our setup teams, but they are very engaged in helping with all of the events that we do, whether it's small satellite conference and all of the thousands of tables and chairs that it takes to pull off that event, to even the smallest thing out on the quad. They're here to support in any way that we can, and we're glad to have them helping. And lastly, one of our support crews that we have is our guest services team, which facilitates ushering, ticket taking, things like that as the event necessitates. These individuals are trained on the buildings that they are in very well, so where they can help in any way that they need, whether it is providing some support and some services in an emergency situation or just providing good guest relations. This crew is everywhere. They're at every event that we do that's an athletic one, or major student events, commencements, different graduations, things like this. And we're again at the end, also in the fine arts areas. So they're constantly here working these different things to the tune of 16,000 hours were worked this last year just with our paid employees. And we do offer this as a service that if people are also wanting to help with their events and offset some costs, they can. But these are the true professionals that can help us with this. And so any questions, like I said, I wanted to give plenty of time to the others to chat. So that is our in-house services. And I will turn the time over to Audrey Kirkman. Yeah. So it varies based upon the department or if it's a student group, things like that. The best thing would actually be we can chat afterwards and get you the exact cost. It does fluctuate based upon your need or your usage times. But between Audrey and myself, we can definitely hit you up afterwards and chat. It is a great thing to have. It's a really cool thing to see come out of this just normal looking trailer that's towed around campus. So
I don't want to stay on. Okay. So I'm Audrey Kirkman. I'm part of Central Reservations. So we do the intake for many spaces on campus. So we have over 100 spaces that our office just facilitates. That goes to obviously event spaces. We also do green spaces across campus. So any field, quad, things like that that you see. That also goes through our office. We could tell you the ins and outs of How you should reserve it, things to look out for when it comes to like snowy, if it's soggy, stuff like that. We also do study rooms and classrooms. So those are really popular that we reserve. Classrooms are obviously, we work with the registrar's office. They go in and put academic courses in there first. And then we have jurisdiction to put other stuff in there additionally. So that could be something as simple as extra TA sessions for a teacher's assistant, or it could be group study sessions if they need something bigger than a standard study room. It could be parts of a conference, parts of events, things like that. We know the ins and outs of what is allowed, not allowed in the classroom, where to find the best classroom based off your needs. We have a lot of information based off of that as well. And then we also have study rooms. So study rooms are pretty self-sufficient. We let all of our students, anyone with an A number, can go in and grab a study room based off what they need. I'm not sure what I just did. I didn't touch anything. That works. So for study rooms, we just let students use that. But again, other faculty staff also like using study rooms if they need like group study spaces for them. And we house all of that in the system. It's called EMS, Event Management System. That's where we house it all. And we also have conference rooms. So there's a lot of conference rooms that come through central reservations, but there's also additionally, we take care of other departments' conference rooms. So they have their own way that they want to request things. They have their own way of making those room approvals as well. And they have full jurisdiction over what's allowed in their space and not. Also for central reservations, we do event intake. So the start of any good event is a lot of good information. So we try to ask the right questions. We try to get that client thinking about how to go about planning for their event. Knowing what's going to be viable and what maybe, like we talked about, maybe shouldn't be happening on campus. We get to talk to those clients about that. And once we determine it's a viable event, the space that they need is available, and we will most likely not be overburdened with too many things happening that day. And we do pass it on to a coordinator, which you'll get to hear from later. And then we're also an information hub. So we have eyes on lots of things happening on campus, even on other campuses. The software we use is statewide for USU. So we do get a lot of questions about what's happening over here. Can you tell me how to get to this venue? What are the rules for this venue? I've never been to campus. How do I go about asking these questions? Who should I be asking them to? Event related and not. Sometimes people will just call us because they do understand that we do get to see a lot of facets of how campus functions. So those are the really big pieces that Central Reservations takes care of. How we can become how we are successful is through that software. So EMS, event management software. We are moving next year to a software called CourseDog that is in conjunction with the registrar's office. So we will jointly be moving our calendars to a new software. You will have the same permissions and same scheduling abilities as before. It will just hopefully be much easier to do so. And that's the purpose of moving. But we really like centralized calendars. So as Reed said, it is not a requirement to use us, but there are a lot of benefits to even just centralizing your calendar. So it's giving you one source of truth for what should be happening in a space. There's still a lot of spaces on campus, which it works for them, but they might put their conference room in a Google Calendar. It might be in an Outlook calendar, and that works for that department. But then when it comes to conflicts, there's maybe one room has two different calendars that it's running off of. There's a conflict in which one is that source of truth. So we have EMS is the source of truth for USU. If it's in EMS, that's what's going to be, should be happening. The other one of the many great things we have is we can automate them. We can open rooms up to specific departments. So if you have a specific conference room that you want to be scheduled centrally, we will still give your department the permissions to have full access over that room. We'll block out so other people outside of your department can't also use those spaces. It is still truly your room. We're just tracking it centrally. The biggest reason why we like tracking things centrally is that it's reportable. It's data-driven information that we can, as admin of various levels, we can pull that information for them and they can make better choices. So they can say, okay, our practice rooms over in the Fine Arts Center are being used 95% of the time during the time it's open. Maybe we need more practice rooms. Or, hey, this room over here is never getting used. Should we repurpose it? IT likes using it to see what's going to be in there, what's not going to be in there. How often have projectors been used? There's a lot of information that you can pull out of that. When it comes to Brandon's resource management, we can make sure we're not double booking equipment. We can make sure maybe 1,500 events this last year had a specific piece of equipment, so maybe we should look at replacing it. Or we always have to almost overbooked chairs, so maybe we should order more chairs. There's lots of reasons why we should centrally book, and that data-driven reportable features is a big piece of it. Also, we're maximizing space utilization. It does have a lot to do with reporting back to Yushi that we want to be able to be the best stewards of our spaces. So we're being able to track what's happening in our spaces and why, that we can take that information back for funding. And then department communications. So we can talk to lots of departments within the software to say if a room's used, if a room's not used. We can take it a step further and say this room is being used for this specific thing. So-and-so needs to be notified. It's automated instead of us having to think about who all do we need to talk about with this event. And then again, safety. So we had that power outage a couple weeks ago. Emergency management loved being able to pull up these are all the rooms that are out. And so what's happening in these spaces, right? They love being able to see truly what was happening in those spaces. So now going on, once we've put stuff into the software, it moves on to a coordinator. And so if Mandy, do you want to talk about coordination?
All right, hi. I am Mandy Idso. I am a senior event coordinator for the Office of Events. My jurisdiction is all of the events that are happening for our on-campus groups. We cover pretty much everything. All that being said, how many of you have been to an event that has fallen apart just a little bit or has had technical difficulties like we've been experiencing today? A lot of us, right? The whole point of the event coordination team is to make sure that those things are resolved quickly and efficiently and or preemptively worked through before it even happens. That is our role. That's our goal. That's our hope, is that we are able to provide these additional services for you so that you can focus on the content of your event while we focus on the logistics. So these are just a few of the things that our coordination team can help you with for your event. A lot of these things are things that you might not have known that we do. It is something that a lot of us think, oh, all they're doing is, pushing the paper, telling the people about it. But we actually handle all of the questions for our service providers. We help them know when to be there, what is happening, and exactly how the event is going to run. And so logistically, we are there to help with that. I was at a conference just recently, and one of the things that we learned was that being in the events industry is the third most stressful job. So you think about that in terms for your events. If it is a third most stressful job, that means that your event, there's a lot of stress there. And our job is to take that stress off of you so that you can focus on enjoying your content of your event and enjoying your event in general. And these logistics are things that you don't have to worry about and that we will handle for you on your behalf. These are a couple of pictures of some of our events that we've had on campus. We do a large variety of events. My team, we handle all of the USA events. So the Howl, the casino nights, I keep on wanting to call it Mardi Gras because that's what it was. And all of the department events. So all of our scholar banquets and end of year things, the welcoming weeks and everything like that. We kind of handle it all. My team handles approximately 1,100 events over the year, which averages out to be about 280 events per coordinator, give or take some. Obviously, we've got some people who are dedicated to these certain groups of individuals that if you don't know who your coordinator is, I highly recommend looking into them. They are fantastic. My team is very, very good at looking at the problems and being able to help you solve them before they happen. That is our whole entire hope, and is that you get out of it is that we are there to support you in any way that you need us to be. We don't want to take over your event. We don't want to be the people who are planning it. That is your job. That's the fun part, right? You get to do the fun part. We get to do the grind. And we love it. And we love being problem solvers and to be able to figure this stuff out. This picture on the left that you see was from our Founders Day this year. Again, we get an opportunity to do a bunch of different types of events and help in whatever facets that our clients need. In this particular need, we did a lot more of the design aspect of it, but we don't have to do that. You guys can do that, and we can just help you actually make the logistics happen. So those are kind of just a really high level about what my team does and how they can help. But if you ever have any questions for what an event coordinator can do for you, please do not hesitate to reach out to us and have us help you with that. We are here to make your lives easier. And I'm going to pass it off to Robbie.
All right. It's my pleasure to introduce the youth programs. My name is Robbie Gerber. I've got a team of two, myself and one other coordinator, Kyle Cottam. And we get the pleasure of working with youth that come to campus, not just during the summer where you might see them mostly, but throughout the year. I'm actually in the process today. There's a leadership conference checking in the conference center, and there's about 250 of them. So I work specifically with youth, but I also have some experience in campus conferencing as well, and as well. So, but jumping right in, what does youth conferences do? What do we try to accomplish? We try to help support, and we support the missions by bringing future Aggies to Utah State University. Any student that comes to campus and has an experience or can be on campus has that extra chance of coming back to Utah State University and attending as an Aggie. So we provide those experiences and those opportunities, whether it be a day event or a week-long camp here on campus. We touch each conference with either not limited to, but we work with housing closely, dining. And that could be either catering or the marketplace or junction. We work with classroom services to reserve classrooms for those youth for their events. Their facilities, work with FM to make sure rooms are cleaned and campus is well maintained. And then we also work with campus recreation, and one I didn't put in here is parking. So there's lots of different departments here on campus and that we work directly with to help bring an event, a camp, or a program to have success here on campus. So part of with that youth coming to campus, there's a big importance put on minors on campus. So we work directly with risk management to help register programs, whether it be an on-campus program or even so that they know what is coming to campus, a third party, through a system called Protection of Minors on Campus. And then we also create solutions to find those challenges that when youth are moving 250 to 800 youth here on campus, how do we solve those problems? And we have working directly with all of those departments, we are able to help provide successful experiences and opportunities for those youth. I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the statistics that come with those youth conferences and events. We had a busy year last year, and in 2023, just in that calendar year, we brought close to 15,000 youth to campus, 15,000 potential Aggies, and that would translate into 50 programs or events that my team has touched directly. If you look at it from a financial standpoint, that we brought in $2.5 million to our auxiliary campus and facility providers. And if you stand back even further, of those 15,000 youth, and we don't know what that number looks like, but it's probably more than that $2.5 million that we generate for the future. Breaking down a little bit even more some of those numbers, last summer we brought in 41 programs, which equated to about 10,000 participants working directly with housing. That equates to 41,000 bed nights. That's a lot of bed nights and a lot of turnovers with campus and their custodials. And then as far as dining and catering is concerned, they served over 120,000 meals. That's a lot of meals to a lot of kids. And classroom services, we offered 232 different classroom reservations here on campus. Further, we worked with our central reservations office, with Audrey's office, and we booked 171 different green spaces. Working with the TSC, which is the Student Center, giving that opportunity to experience what student life could be like. That's 44 different spaces. With the King College of the Arts, we work closely with them with one particular program, but we ordered 48 different bookings in their facility. And then along with campus recreation, which provides a lot of fun to those youth, we reserved 96 spots in the pools 22 times, and then the challenge course 3 different reservations. Unfortunately, challenge course is no longer with us, but they do still offer team building activities that they can facilitate. And then athletics, we work directly with their camps, the sports camps, all different types of sports camps, and we work with those coaches closely with equipment and with just coordinating with parking and those types of programs. And with that, I will turn the time over to, before I do that, any questions out there? Oh, sorry.
You said the challenge course.
Yes. So the ropes course, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they deemed it unsafe. And so that no longer is available. So unfortunately. But they do have a portable rock wall, and they do have an awesome team that can run you through facilitation of events on the ground. So sorry. There.
Well, I am Melisa Wood. I'm the Senior Conference Coordinator here, and I am so excited because I get to introduce the power of USU's conference management and the full conference services that we offer. And I forgot the clicker. The main aim of organizing a conference is to inform, educate, and to create more awareness around a certain topic. Most of the time, it is the topic of whatever client that they're wanting to teach. Our conference management team specializes in full service management that is really, truly customized to the client's needs. One of the main things that we really do, we do a venue, site, and selection, whether we're doing it off or on campus. I'll touch base on the off campus here in just a little bit. But one of the other very important integral parts of conference management is our registration. I have 4 conference coordinators plus an entire registration team. And that registration team, what they do is they help manage and streamline registrations for your conferences. On-site check-in, quick process. It's incredible to see the team and how streamlined having a registration team on site, how well that gets the attendees through that check-in process. If anybody's been to a conference and there's long lines, having an on-site registration team is a very integral part to make your conferences go very smooth. We have an abstract and speaker management system that is incredible. We are very lucky to have amazing and brilliant individuals working in our conference department. Michael Burton, he is one of our system administrators in Office of Events, and the abstract system and speaker management programs that he has created is incredible. If anyone has attended SmallSat or is aware of it, we have the ability to do our exhibitor and sponsor registration and management. There's over 400 at SmallSat. There's over 400. We're going to a conference and doing a conference offsite in Denver, and they have 150 to I think it's 175 actually exhibitors. So for us as a conference management to be able to help our client manage all of those exhibitors on site, to check all of those in and take all of that heavy lifting away from the client. So like what Mandy was saying, enable the client to be able to enjoy their conference instead of having to handle all the logistics. We also do, of course, event equipment management, whether it's on campus or if it's off campus, food and beverage, and also facilities services. Financial planning, budgeting, and reconciliation. That is another aspect that a lot of people don't understand goes into and don't realize how much goes into planning a conference. We, yet again, take all of that heavy planning. We are the ones that collect and reconcile all of that budgeting and for our clients. And so that they're not having to worry about all those little things that come in, whether it was food and beverage, whatever the case may be, we're able to collect all of that for them and manage that entire aspect for them. Another one that I absolutely love is our group accommodations, being able to book their rooms, travel their manage their itineraries, being able to allow all of their speakers to be able to have that VIP service because we're able to handle their logistics for them upon arrival. Right now, we have in conferencing, we have over 84 conferences and we are planning offsite as well as on-site. This year, we have planned conferences in Sandy, St. George. We're going to Denver next week, as well as Philadelphia. In the past, we've been to Grand Rapids, San Francisco, as well as Salt Lake. As long as conferences are vetted, being affiliated with USU, we can manage and coordinate any conference anywhere. Any questions on conferencing?
My little brother did the graphic design for that 20 years ago when there were only
5 presenters.
And I saw it this last summer. I came back about it. I just was floored with how big it's got.
It is incredible. They have over 4,000 attendees last year. They're anticipating for just a little bit more. And we're lucky enough because it's here on campus that we get to work with all of our service providers. And so it's an entire campus-wide project for us.
That is a very good example of a very good event that we are honored and thrilled to be involved with. It's also a really good example of some of the check boxes that exist in an event that some people may not know about. So in summary, who is the Office of Events? We are a team of 35 full-timers and over almost 200 part-timers, fully dedicated to ensure the safety and success of your event, fully dedicated to ensure that the properties and reputation and employees of Utah State are protected and that the financial and ethical practices are constant and consistent, and here to provide the one-stop shop to engage every option that Utah State has to offer. So many venues are so underutilized. So many people are very used to having an event in the same space every time, and a lot of people don't know what else is out there, what other venues there are. That is our role, is to make sure that we are maximizing every opportunity, because the more people we are able to bring, the more they either apply if they're a youth, or the more we're able to engage with those community relationships by having some of our local neighbors downtown come and utilize our spaces up here and increase and foster those relationships, which is a huge part of the university mission. So our part is the service and engagement. The question, what does Utah State University Office of Events do? Yes. If it has something to do with an event, we can do it. And if we shouldn't do it, we can help you through those nuances. There are so many check boxes on that list that you can do yourself. You may not need us, you may not want us, 100% great. Our role is to be a tool in your belt, not a pain in your butt. I apologize if that was on maybe your neck. We don't strong arm, we don't twist arms. We have USU policies that we adhere to just like everybody else. We are the experts with events. If you've ever asked yourself, am I checking all the boxes of an event? There are so many what ifs, right? What if I'm hosting an event and one of my youth sneaks out in the middle of the night? What if there's a fight? What if there's a political protest? What if the governor's coming? Is the governor coming? Maybe I've heard on social media that the governor might come, but I don't know. Who do I contact? What do I do if somebody chooses to exercise their Second Amendment rights at my event? What do I choose if somebody chooses to, what do I do if somebody chooses to very openly exercise their First Amendment right? What is the time, place, and manner of my event? What do I do if there's a medical emergency? What do I do if somebody approaches the catering team and says, can you provide lamb? And they say, maybe, and then you bring a live lamb. What do I do if somebody dies at my event? What do I do if somebody threatens somebody else's life at my event? What do I do if there's a global pandemic? Surprisingly, every one of these things has happened at Utah State University during events. A lot of these things go unknown or unseen. please don't ever feel like you're on your own with an event. We are here to help. We do not charge for everything we do. Again, if you utilize a service that is provided by a university partner, we speak those languages. We work with those languages. We know who to contact for closed captioning. We know who to contact for broadcasting. We know who to contact for ticketing, for ASL interpreters. A lot of those things have costs. We take those costs, we put it into one master document, and we give it to you at the end. We have one contract, one agreement, and then one invoice at the end. And that can include everything on those check boxes. Please don't ever feel like you have to be the expert. We said this at the last one. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. I hope that phrase isn't copyrighted. Everybody knows the commercial, right? But the reason that we are the experts is because we've done this at events. We know how to handle a bomb threat. We know how to handle an active shooter threat. We are FEMA trained. We have several people that are trained in many things. And most importantly, those things that we don't do in-house, we know who does it. We know when they should be engaged. We speak their language and we know how to engage them. And for the most part, we can give you a very good idea up front of what they will cost and how we can help you engage those services, whether they're necessary or not. So that is our role, is to ensure that events are amazing because we want more people to come to campus. Every one of you have probably met somebody on campus that's here because they came to a football game or a youth program or a conference, or they heard about our spider silk program or our cochlear implant world leading research, or about SDL. We could go another hour on space dynamics. We've talked about SmallSat. So everybody here at Utah State's here for a reason. Chances are one of those reasons had something to do with an event, whether it was a meeting, a seminar, a webinar, a conference, again, or a basketball championship. There's another one. What do I do if people threaten to storm the court? How do I find out if they're going to do it ahead of time? We've known every court storming was going to come because we have very good relationships with the students, and we say, are you coming? And they say yes. And we say, please be safe and please keep it within the ropes and let us get the refs and the visiting team out safely and then go nuts. Because we want to do this again next year, right? We want that to be a very good thing that students can experience. Every student should experience a court storming. And thanks to our wonderful academic programs, if you've been here for more than 3 days, you've got to do that. Any questions? I believe we are dangerously close to overtime. Yeah. Great question. The question for those joining via Zoom is, are we the ones to call for a 5K? And I will say, if a 5K is an event, yep, absolutely. Please call us for anything. We don't charge to answer questions. Audrey's team is amazing. You can call our number. Sorry, as the curtain closes here. We have two numbers. We have 797-0423 or 797-EVNT. Those both hit the Central Reservations office. And you can call us to ask us any questions. If I'm working with a government entity and there's been a government shutdown and now all my contracts are null and void, how do I get out of a contract? Who do I engage for the legal team? Do we comply with the Department of the Interior Form 889? Are we using Chinese spy work? Who on Utah State's campus can I get to get a signed 889 out? We deal with these things all the time, and you can ask any of these questions right here at 797-EVNT 3868 or 797-0423. If there's a cost to it, we'll tell you. Absolutely. And if you need help checking those boxes and you would like a coordinator to help be at your side, helping cheer you on behind the scenes and helping push you along and put together the correct recipe for all the nuances and complexities that exist with events, especially major events, we'll tell you exactly how long we think it will take and what that would cost. Chances are we can do it much faster than most people on campus. So instead of dropping a major event on somebody whose role, even though they may have time to do it, may not be events, we would highly recommend involving one of our coordinators to work with that person to make sure all those boxes are checked. We have nothing to hide. We're a public institution. We're part of the state of Utah. We survive as an auxiliary. So if it's worth your time, we're here for you. And if not, we're here cheering you on behind the scenes, hoping and praying that everything works. And quite honestly, oftentimes getting called in to help rescue it if things aren't going well anyway. Yeah.
When you do like quad or something, there's an option for drop off or setup. Drop off only or setup, but there's no option for none needed. So is there, can that get added in? Like for my lead lab classes, we don't need setup, but I have to go and like spell it out somewhere to make sure that they know that I don't need setup because I have to pick one or the other, and I really don't need drop off, and I really don't need setup.
Yeah, if you are not actually, you will need to drop off equipment.
Well, I don't need any equipment, so,
Yeah,
but
so
to
that-
do the reservation, you have to
Ask for equipment, if you just put out
do what?
So really quick to sum up the conversation for those joining via Zoom, the question is, if I'm reserving a green space and there's a resource request for equipment, am I able to just not request a resource? The answer is yes.
I'll double check that, because it might be in a box.
Okay, thanks.
And that brings up a great point again. For any questions, Audrey's office, she has an amazing central reservations team. That is the opening of the funnel, the one-stop shop. And this number 797 EVNT. There was another question about the mobile video board. That is an amazing tool. All the pricing, all the nuances, Audrey's team can help with all of those things. There are so many things that are available on campus that a lot of people don't know about. So we are absolutely happy to help utilize the services, the venues, and the service providers and the spaces across campus, even if they're not within our office. Our role is to have everybody's events be amazing. We produce very few events. Our events are your events, and we want them to succeed regardless of who it is. Okay, here is the QR code unless there are any other questions.